So Chairsyde ultimately is a platform, a patient consultation platform for dentists that lets a dentist visually explain conditions, treatment options, and risks to patients that is time-stamped, tracked, and stored in the clinical notes.
Welcome to the Dental Protection Podcast. My name's George Wright, and I'm Dental Legal Consultant and Deputy Dental Director here at Dental Protection. And I'll be the host for this episode. And it's a great pleasure to have with me today Loven Ganeswaran. Loven, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, George. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Loven. And I can see you're there surrounded by your Chairsyde background, which unfortunately those listening to our podcast won't be able to see in all its glory. And the fantastic T-shirt you've got there. And Loven, actually what we've got you along for today is really to talk about Chairsyde and your journey with the platform and what it can provide to users. But before we jump into that, Loven, I just want to ask a little bit about you. For those that aren't aware of you, aren't aware of your background, can you just give me a pen picture of your career to date and what took you down the route of starting Chairsyde?
Of course. So I'm a dentist. I have been for the past 13 years. And I started my foundation training on the Berkshire scheme in 2010. During that time in 2011, I come from a Sri Lankan background, and there was a civil war in Sri Lanka in 2009. And I'd actually moved here from Sri Lanka when I was about 18 months old. So my parents moved over to Scotland, and I lived there for a short while and then moved to England. And I wanted to, during my foundation year, I wanted to head back to Sri Lanka to work in some of the orphanages there, now that I'd learned how to deliver dentistry. But so I called a few of the companies, the dental companies, and they supported the initiative. So myself, Kiri, who's now my co-founder and my best friend, we decided to head back. We packed our suitcase and our backpacks full of dental materials, cold sterilization equipment, and all sorts. And we headed to Sri Lanka, where it was recovering from a war in 2011. So these kids had never seen a dentist, a lot of them. They never had the chance. They were in remote villages up in the north of Sri Lanka and also in the east and also in the south as well, so just across. But these kids were just essentially the happiest kids when we saw them. They were smiling, they were laughing. And I tried to do this, we tried to carry out dental care and understand and do checkups and then refer them to the local hospitals. But what we found there, George, was actually a lot of them just needed to understand prevention and education because they'd never even understood that they had to brush their teeth. Their stage of life was like survival, not almost preventative care, right? So off the cuff, even though the ambition was to go and do dental treatment, which we did do in a local surgery there, we taught them a song on how to brush their teeth. And it was just something that we did off the cuff. And we came back, and when we revisited in 2 years, George, it was phenomenal. These kids were singing this song word for word. And not only were they singing this, the new orphans who had joined the orphanage were also singing this in unison.
Wow, right. Yeah.
And it just reminded me how powerful it is just to teach kids a song about how to brush their teeth. So it was like for 2 minutes, out round the top in circles, round the bottom in circles. And it was just a fun little song. And it just reminded me how simply powerful prevention could be and education can be. So yes, I got back then from Sri Lanka, and it's now 2015-16 where I've done a sort of 4 to 5 years of clinical work. And I'm finding myself drawing pictures of teeth sort of 10 to 15 times a day to try and explain conditions, treatment options, and risks to my patients. And when I did this, I really discovered that that's what they truly appreciate. I really understand that my patients, that when I say to them, look, 95% of your oral health is really done at home. I'm just here for sort of 5% of it. And if we can create a vision for each patient where we can get them to stability and longevity with that, that's something worthwhile. But we can only do that through helping them understand the causes and consequences. So the power of those pictures and drawing was something that stimulated an idea around how can we make this feasible so that I didn't have to draw pictures 10 to 15 times a day. What happened after that was we thought animation. What about animations? So we built these perio animations and these toothache animations, and then within sort of 10 to 15 seconds, patients got it. They understood. They understood what was causing that problem. They understood that if they didn't do anything about it, it would spread. And relating back to the fact that I was really disheartened by the fact that 170 kids a day are having their teeth removed under general anesthetic because of tooth decay, which is a preventable disease. 94% of the population suffer from some form of gum disease, some form of perio on the spectrum. 48% suffer from chronic perio. Now, that 48% who are suffering from chronic perio, we now know that there's research to prove that that can lead to Alzheimer's, that can lead to cardiovascular disease. And how can we now think about health from a holistic perspective, not just localized and reactive dentistry? So we built these animations. I gave them to a few of my colleagues, my friends from dental uni, and the patients loved it. The feedback that we're getting was like, wow, no one's ever told us about this before. No one's ever showed us this before. So then Kiri and I sat down and we thought, okay, there's something here. Why can't we, there's a true purpose here as well, which is how can we help the world understand their health? So how can we transform the world's health through education? And that's how Chairsyde was born. So we ended up building more and more animations, and then we managed to raise investment. And we even had patients investing. I had a perio patient who really loved the idea and said, and he went to see a specialist and now he's stable. And he said, I don't understand why other patients can't have access to this. So we know that there is a purpose and a cause that's worth developing, worth scaling around the world. And we want to empower patients to make better decisions about their health by helping dentists explain it transparently.
Yeah. I've got to say, Loven, you mentioned there about the children going for XGA. And actually, my kids love this. That they see me using Chairsyde. They love the animations, and like I use it in practice, and certainly it's helpful to patients. And it gets me, as you say, out of having to draw those pictures all over your day list. And certainly with my art skills, it's a benefit. To people listening, Loven, who perhaps haven't had the opportunity to use Chairsyde, you've talked about the fact you can see these animations for that education of the patient. How would you sum up to somebody listening today what Chairsyde is and what it provides to them?
So Chairsyde ultimately is a platform, a patient consultation platform for dentists that lets a dentist visually explain conditions, treatment options, and risks to patients that is time-stamped, tracked, and stored in the clinical notes. Each consultation is personalized to that patient. That you can draw, you can annotate, and the entire consultation can then be sent to the patient, where the patient has 24 hours or longer to recollect the information, watch the animations at home in the comfort of their own home. And they even have the option now to select whether they understood it or whether they have any questions. And then the dentist will get notification that the patient consented. And the entire part of the Chairsyde platform has been built and is continuing to evolve in line with the GDC standard. So we know that everything that we've done is to visually educate patients, but not only that, gain informed consent, help patients make an informed decision, and everything is timestamped, tracked, and stored in your notes. So there is evidence of what was shown, said, and the patient has the chance to revisit that at home and then consent from there.
Right. And I think that, from my perspective, coming at this from a dental legal background, that ability, I think, to track the consent process and evidence that is hugely valuable. And I wonder, is that where this relationship in Chairsyde and dental protection started? Just perhaps talk people through that partnership, how that came about and how that's developed and worked for Chairsyde over past months and years.
Absolutely. So we presented Chairsyde to Raj Ratan, the dental director, who is one of the I would probably say, open-minded, community-driven individuals that when he saw Chairsyde, he saw the potential at that stage of how this can help build exceptional patient relationships, to do the transparent thing and then mitigate risk. With that, we met an incredible team at Dental Protection who had a real flair for innovation, and they wanted to provide real value to their members. So we built this mission to reduce the value and volume of claims over time for dentists around the world. And we're starting by helping Dental Protection members do the best they can with their patients, giving them the tools and the technology with Chairsyde, so that not only will it reduce their risk, but it also will help them grow a healthy business as well around it, because they're building great goodwill, looking after their patients. But ultimately, by doing the right thing by patients, by doing the right thing by improving their understanding, we know that eventually the risk value over time will reduce for those dentists and those dental practices. So it's a real great joint mission. And the wonderful thing about the Dental Protection Partnership is we've collaborated with the likes of yourself, George, and Yvonne to build some incredible animations that are specific to the claims that are coming through, or the issues that people are not quite understanding. And not only that, we've been able to collaborate with Raj to help build the things like the audit trail, because of the insight that Dental Protection has come. So they have actually contributed to the evolution of the product in a true partnership and the innovation of it. And now with the advent of artificial intelligence and the introduction of AI into the mass market, it's a very exciting time for Chairsyde. And with Dental Protection, the exciting thing as well is it's a real community-driven product where the animations are not just built by the Chairsyde team, they're built by dentists and specialists in the field, and Dental Protection have contributed. So it's a real collaborative effort with a common cause. And we believe that over time, as more and more dentists embrace this to help their patients understand, we're going to get far better health outcomes for our patients, and we're going to be far safer in the way we deliver dentistry.
Thank you, Loven. I think that's a lovely way of summarising it. And actually, you've picked on what, to my mind, are the two sides of the coin here in terms of benefit. One is, when things reach our desk at Dental Protection, having that ability to say, actually, no, I did discuss that. This is the steps I went through to have that consent process with you. That evidence is really good when it comes to defending any claims. But actually, what we'd really love to see is that things don't even get that far. You've had that because you've had the ability to use this communication tool to have those detailed discussions with the patient. Actually, they do understand their options, and they are properly consenting to treatment, and they're not left in a position where they're wanting to complain or bring a claim in the first place. So I think it would be really lovely over time to see how that impacts on the number of cases that are coming through our door. You've touched there on the benefit to the profession. Just taking it back in the surgery for a moment, to you've got a patient in front of you. What is the benefit to that patient? And also I think some of the pushback that I sometimes hear when it comes to these communication tools is just how stretched for time dentists are, and DCPs in the surgery, particularly under current waiting lists and so forth. This is going to mean more time in the chair, isn't it, with the patient? How do you respond to that concern?
Well, I think it's a really good point, and it's the same philosophy that came about the adoption of new technology. There's a theory around that. How did the iPad become mainstream? How did because before when the tablets came out, they said what's the purpose of this, and how electric cars now becoming mainstream. And that's the thing about innovation. It's beautiful because there is a certain personality type that will take it and run with it because they love new things. They love to experiment with it. And then there's a certain personality type that will use it because it's tried, tested, reviewed by their peers and so on and so forth. And as you have to kind of go through the phases of it. But there's certain parts of the product that naturally evolve to fit as we go along on this journey. So now which was last month, dentally users get to have a little widget on their screen where Chairsyde floats around, and they can literally search and find any animation as they navigate through dentally, which is really now, for those that found it challenging to use two platforms, it's now integrated into one. I personally am using the exact integration right now. So it's even easier for software of excellence users to navigate. And the thing is, the entire audit trail is automatically stored in your patient's notes then. And so that patient will just constantly, for every appointment they've had, have that audit trail saved. So as Chairsyde evolves, as the market evolves, what we're finding is that the product is getting we're getting more and more dentists using the product because of its ease of use. But really what they're finding is once they use it for their first patient, second patient, third patient, they realize that you can explain perio in 11 seconds, right? It's about building that habit on a Monday morning when you walk in to try something different and then allowing it to settle in patient after patient after patient. So what we've done is we've built what we call our clinical relationship team. So at Chairsyde, we're not just a product, we're a service. So our clinical relationship team, who are ex-dentists, young dentists who have left the profession, or dentists who are currently practicing but doing a few days outside of clinical, they work in the Chairsyde office. These guys see patients and they understand the dentist mindset. So what they will do is we have unlimited training, unlimited support, one-to-one demos with these guys. They'll even come to your practice and help you embrace Chairsyde. We've done loads of lunch and learns with pizzas, with dental protection practices around the country. And our mission is to be there on your journey to help not only embed this product, but help you and show you how best to consult things like perio, how best to consult caries, how best to consult missing tooth and the options for a missing tooth, which leads to sort of huge uptake in other treatments like implants and stuff like that. So we're helping dentists do the right thing through communication. For those that need the support, we're there for you at any time. And so that's Chairsyde's promise to the community, being a community-driven product. And I just wish, I had someone who would help me explain perio really well and the technology to do that when I was coming through as a dentist. And I'm fortunate now to be able to do that. So hopefully, if a dentist is interested in delivering the best possible communication and care and understanding and transparency to their patient, and believe you me, there's a huge percentage of dentists in the country who are truly motivated to deliver that to their patients, then Chairsyde will help you and support you throughout the whole way, not only in just the software, but in the service and care that the team will provide to help you deliver that.
And Loven, as we come to the final couple of questions from me, before I let you get back to probably putting your next animation together, our theme this year has been all around diagnostic error and how we can support dentists in reducing that. And I was just reflecting on the first ever complaint I got was a complaint to the GDC a couple of years into practice where I'd seen a patient for pericoronitis, and this patient basically didn't accept my diagnosis, thought I'd got it wrong and thought I'd managed it inappropriately. And I was just looking through your animations. I saw the pericoronitis animation. You've got a lovely one there of irrigating under the operculum as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it strikes me that as well as assisting that discussion of treatment options, that consent process, actually there's a more upstream benefit to this where you can use it to help explain your diagnosis, something as simple as that, to help get that buy-in from the patient, I suppose, in where you're going with their treatment moving forward. Do you see that as a benefit?
Absolutely. I think one thing about diagnosis is Chairsyde helps eliminate the he said, she said element of, you never told me about this diagnosis, or I misunderstood the diagnosis, or I don't believe that that's the diagnosis in certain circumstances. It creates a absolute transparency. So in this particular situation, George, what could have happened is if at the time you had Chairsyde and you were able to show this patient both pericoronitis, even you could show them the outcome of an impacted wisdom tooth, and you show them these animations, the patient then understands that these are facts, that you're not making this up and this is a legitimate problem here. And they would not only buy in, but if they buy into the diagnosis, they buy into the prevention, they buy into the solutions that will help relieve this. So by solving that problem then, it sort of would have reduced the magnitude of the issue later down the line, right?
Yeah.
I truly believe that not only that Chairsyde will helps cement the diagnosis, helps give patients differential diagnosis, but also gives that patient transparency and understanding of the diagnosis, which is the most important part.
Yeah. Okay, Loven, final question for me then. I mean, you've come a long way in your career and with Chairsyde, from a point in time in which You look at technology and think there's nothing more that can be done in this space, and then out of nowhere comes this platform, which is really quite revolutionary, I think, in terms of how you can communicate with patients. So interested to hear your perspective on what you think is next for that relationship between digital and dentistry, and perhaps a little bit about where you see Chairsyde going in the future.
Sure. I think right now, dentistry is probably one of the most exciting times I've ever experienced in dentistry, particularly in the last 2 to 3 years post-COVID. There's been a massive shift in dentists' activity and patient behavior, patient understanding, and the type of treatments that dentists can offer now as well. But more importantly, that's driven by the evolution of technology. And with the introduction of artificial intelligence, as we said, now we will not recognize dentistry in the next 10 years. And that's only going to mean much better care for patients. That's only going to be much easier, much more predictable treatment options. That's also going to be better communication solutions. And as far as Chairsyde is concerned, the roadmap of development is so incredible that we can be so much more specific and personalized and tailor-made to specific patient needs based on their profile. So it's a very exciting time, not only from a risk perspective, but more so from a just general health improvement perspective. And I think it will also reduce a lot of stress for dentists, because it really breaks my heart that dentists want to leave dentistry. But if we can make it far more enjoyable, stress-free, predictable, and we can take away some of these nuances, such as communication problems, upset patients, when actually the dentist is genuinely trying to do their best, technology will help overcome all of this. And ultimately, we'll have a much more enjoyable and positive outcome. And of course, it comes with its fears and its risks, technology, as we know. And I know it's well documented about AI and the direction it can take. But it is here to stay, and it's up to us to be responsible about it. And we need to use it for the greater good as well. So I'm excited for the future and sharing these conversations with people like yourself, George, who embrace new technology, and dental protection, who champion innovation. It's a really bright future for dental protection members, and it's a really exciting time for dentistry.
Loven, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been really fascinating to hear about your journey professionally and with Chairsyde, and I'm sure you're going to go on to more bigger and exciting things in the future. Just a final ask from me, Loven, for anyone listening to this thinking, I'm a dental protection member and I want to get access to Chairsyde, what do they do? Where can they go to sign up?
So it's a really exciting piece for dental protection extra practices, because they actually get the entire practice, get a complimentary Chairsyde account, courtesy of dental protection, to help reduce their risk and improve their patient outcomes. All they need to do is go onto the Chairsyde site, and there's a book a demo link. When you click on book a demo, you can select a time on our calendar, and one of our clinical relationship managers, one of our dentists basically, will sit with you and then set you up an account and get you and train you on how to use it. It's as simple as that. You can do it within 2 clicks, and the entire practice who are dental protection members will have access to Chairsyde. So that's really exciting. And young dentists, foundation dentists, do get in touch as well. And all other general dental, because they get a complimentary account, and all other dental protection members, they get 20% off a Chairsyde account as well. So just visit the site and we'll be able to set you up.
Fantastic. Loven, thank you again for your time. It's been a real pleasure chatting things through with you this morning. And thank you to our listeners. As always, very grateful to you for tuning in and hearing this episode. Do sign up to the Dental Protection Podcast through wherever you usually listen to your podcasts, and you'll get notifications of any future episodes. Otherwise, I've been your host, George Wright, and thank you for listening.